Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
Sure that Claare na Gael is bewail am Saltica. This is Robert Getting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have you ever had tell of old Bobby Bob?
And I'm here to bring you this programme which is called Claare na Gael. And you'll hear part of it in the English language as Nias Clash and Pertel Yagisa Gilg. And you'll hear another part of it in the Manx Gaelic, Jinyan Amera, the mother tongue of Alan Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Bannacht and Jurish. William Gell leads to the top of Castle Rushen at the end of his 1906 poem, Man in Vegbeen, a poetical sketch of the Isle of Man. His subject matter, though, leads me on to an older text for what will be a lengthy digression, because it's far too long for just this time round. It struck me that we often talk about the Stanleys without knowing very much about the background of them all the time. Ons de skiel as Tjaglum na Brerich and Grimm mechion a talier dunnel, te source de hochira gulla juno eder fawr as a talier beg. Ten fawr juno image in jaartegge, och ten talier juno image in chrouwtegge, de chor lauwe barriach der. Marlene and Dillis lead the way northward first, though with Marlene's song about Ramsay and the Iron Way. Tawis geestjach rish Radio Vanning, station and ashun, with skull er skelia maag vai doelish, Alan Vanning.
The breaking waves still pound against your frame, that stride so proudly out into the bay. I still recall the thousands as they came to Manning shores along the Iron Way. I still recall the thousands as they came to Manning shores along the Iron Way. Sculia mecheti henke langes tren, geschlechten Vannin ere Halleluja. From every point around the Ramsay Bay, the Iron Pier, the Queen's Pier, still holds sway. But oh, it breaks my heart so every day to see its noble structure where decay. I still recall the thousands as they came to Manning shores along the Iron Way. Oh, Sculia mecheti henke langes tren, geschlechten Vannin ere Halleluja. If I had monies of a millionaire, I'd search my coffers deep until I found the wealth of knowledge of the folk who care, enough to save this gem of
Dilys with Marlene's song The Iron Way about the Iron Pier in Ramsey, standing over Ramsey Bay. Now, standing on the topmost height, and having gained a beauteous sight, here muse we on the Derby's might. When Latham had on Stanley smiled, the Union fair was duly filed, and stamped the Eagle and the Child, crest of the Derby of renown, who thence for full 3 centuries down held undisputed Mannin's crown. In relation to the clock on Castle Rushen, with the inscription saying it was presented by Queen Elizabeth in 1597, I mentioned how influential the Stanley family was in the Elizabethan court, and that what was called Latham House in Lancashire was actually a strong fortress known as the Palace of the North. The Stanleys had it in their power to make things difficult for the monarchy, but they refrained from doing so. This reference here by William Gell goes back to 1385, when 2 great Lancashire families were united, when Sir John Stanley married Isabel Latham, who was the heiress of the Latham estates, which included Latham House itself and also Knowsley, with which, of course, the Stanleys became connected. Henke fors and talier beg bilje shillish, as gauwen for Graeme de Banglain and Serge, bol van mes savi kroche. As Sjarne Shisad, as huggiad gus a talier de Gael Graeme as renne guier de I. Ach, van talier beg vader o fest de chummel hisse bilje, as houds renne for liege sere, renne bilje limma back. Van talier kjout sus en as treren tujum noes rish genadi erbi, doort en forish, krein achter shaw, na wel njaat de loeret de chummels hies krauw gefeise shen. Gene gennet den jaart vis on dregger a talier beg, krein ach weg shen morte, eg fert varou shaach leis onwulje. Gerauw mi ach limme herrische vilje, no de wel na shell geren, lieke gunnen hies on shen maast in a tamagan. Jen limme nis maardesu. Ren na for corne bear, as had dod de limme herrish. A Cornish shanty group from Falmouth, the Oggymen, sing one of the popular 19th century revivalist hymns written by Philip P. Bliss in 1871. It's called Lower Lights, although the Oggymen here sing Harbour Lights.
Brightly beams our Father's mercy from the lighthouse ever warm. Unto us He holds the keeping of the lights along the shore. Let your harbour lights keep burning. Send your beam across the wave. Some poor faint and struggling seaman, you may rescue, you may save. Dark the night of sin and sorrow, loud the angry billows roar. Eager eyes are watching, waiting for the light along the shore. Let your harbor lights keep burning. Send your beam across the wave. Some poor faint and struggling seaman, you may rescue, you may save. Trim your feeble lamps, my brothers. Some poor sailor tempest tossed, trying hard to make the harbor in
the darkness may be lost. Let your hour lights keep burning. Send your beam across the wave. Some poor faint and struggling seaman, you may rescue, you may save. How the wind blows o'er the water, how the cold bites in so deep, how the lights along the shoreline wake us from our deathly sleep. Let your armor lights keep burning. Send your beam across the wave, Some poor faint and struggling seaman, you may rescue, you may save.
The Oggymen with a song entitled Lower Lights. A lower or leading light is away from the main lighthouse and helps manoeuvre ships through narrow channels and hidden dangers. A song popular in the 19th century nonconformist chapels and all the various revivals. Gedenke leis je voorliam a herische vilja as we tannachten on shen as kroge masten de banglenen. Maar so kuurt Elia hug a talier beg lau en echte goes. Doet de voor no de Elia de gunje dunnelos, aber de veluchit merem gesaljachtijn as tannachten voet no hei. Van talier leden areltach as daire ersen. Te renke de jachen shen van in sai kius de voor Elia, Joris en Isle, as kaach va kere roostich salawege as ve gigi. Jich talier beg me gik de smoney eschen, ten a smoo remus on shore na se cherjanem. As ren a forgi del javi, as dinche de berde jai shiser as Gael Sabine. Ach van javi ro voers on a talier, maar sa hereni tannacht an ongi ach reni snaustiach ans corneelgi de gadle. Geleers henke meni, jiri a fower, gawi stauermoer jaren, as reni scotchel through de javi lesh unvulja. Now, William Gell gives a footnote to his reference in his poem to The Eagle and Child, which says that it's the crest of the House of Latham, adopted by Sir John Stanley on his union with Isabel of Latham. Well, the story behind The Eagle and Child is given by John Seacombe in his 1793 publication, The History of the House of Stanley, from the Conquest to the Right Honourable Edward, late Earl of Derby in 1776. That's the title, and this is what he writes. Sir Thomas Latham lived in the reign of King Edward III, and he and his lady being highly advanced in years without any other issue than Lady Isabel Latham, and he being desirous of male issue, even when he was a child, but despairing thereof by his own lady, had a love intrigue with a young gentlewoman of his acquaintance, whom he kept concealed in a house of retirement, until she bore him a son, which accordingly happened. But on due consideration there still remained some matters of consequence. music by Donegal Trio, The High Seas, with Kathleen Nirawan on concertina, Kieran Omwini on fiddle, and Cahal O'Coron on bouzouki.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Stasiwn yn asiwn sian dy jar o radio fanning, si Claare na Gael fy sgolor sgelia ma cartnish, mer yn pyn, Robert gytyn carswell, Robert y carslach.
Did the other hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
Ter record is je Claare na Gael o'r chlaasjen, de sjachten loopt je golor sgelia maag en chirchir, trwyd yn chraman eis rys ag yn edege radio fanning. As ons sian nis ta podcast je regedden, nasty, na trwyd yn reich de podcast ed, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, na Alexa. With Sir Thomas Latham having fathered a son by another woman, there were what John Seacombe calls some matters of consequence to be adjusted for the future peace and quiet of Sir Thomas's mind, and the full completion of all his joys and wishes on this grand occasion. The first of which was, how and in what manner to publish the birth of this young son, and he not so much as suspected to be the real father of him. And in the next place, how to amuse and secure his lady from the pangs of a jealous mind, and secure her motherly care of the young infant in such a manner that he might be nurtured and brought up in his own house, free from all suspicion or uneasiness betwixt them. And lastly, that he might, with the greater freedom and pleasure, oversee and extend his paternal beneficence to him by acts of charity, and thereby screen himself from the ill-natured reflections of an inquisitive and censorious world. Grand stuff, isn't it? Van voorshielten de rauwe godjer limiter fair shen j talier. Fi vages a vore hai na fauer stiach sa Gael, as je roed at de ballach mechion a talierbeg. As tre honnig a de chitten en jai as esh blio as ginnel, eshen blio as ginnel, vad aglet as de moor, as smunnion de rauwe chi marwad, renned raier che as drissoru. Mar so ren a talierbeg marchel a hoiacht, as de kinjach gin veg de li jele ach an aigne ag a heen. As tref ein ol a red liauer, renne entrail close je ples ri, as unshen jeniach a gotch les genus, drawe lai shies as hutch Claare. Chaus ve unshen, henk used to lie, ren gien as yin de smoorok, as renned lie a crisega, shach eg unwulje. Oh, dortad, cren fev is a char moor shaw chit. Cren fev is a char en moor shaw chit de so on strijdig ye. Cren roortach a njadel vis eshen gin aures. Esh hired as inchad den reem or chion. Now this is a Welsh song of which there have been other versions here in Claare na Gael, but this one is by the trio Vree.
My Genny Stoke, my Genny Hill, leave my Genny Vidai, my Genny fancy fawr iawn I dy gari pe cawn I lanydd gan y diogi.
Mae gen I ffansi fawr iawn I dy garu, pe gawn I lonydd gan y diogi.
Diw nos, diw y gei a diach na di yng nghalon yna.
Diw a nos,
Mae gen I ffansi fawr iawn I dy garu pe cawn I lonydd gan y diogi. Mae gen I iar, mae gen I geiliad, mae gen I gywen fel yn fachod. Mae gen I iar, mae gen I geiliad, mae gen I gywen fel yn fachod. Mae gen I ffansi fawr iawn I dy garu pe cawn I lonydd gan y diogi. Mae gen I ffansi fawr iawn I dy garu pe cawn I lonydd gan y diogi. Mae gen I ffansi fawr iawn I dy garu pe cawn I lonydd gan y diogi. Mae gen I ffansi fawr iawn I dy garu pe cawn I lonydd gan y diogi.
Lead vocal by Aneurin Jones, who also plays fiddle with the band, and Jordan Price-Williams on bass and Patrick Rhymes on fiddle. Both Jordan and Patrick have been here for an Cruniach, of course, and vocal support from Jordan and Patrick as well. The Welsh trio Vri, the lovelorn or the infatuated person of Llantrisant, Follis Llantrisant. Van a fully sure smunion that Jinnach Cag a Brishamach, Crane Dunya Wujel im a Doyle Vech and Talier. As nach Lizere ve lawit de de Gael a chor erbi. Wren a ri es sunna kun seelegge. As hooky ferge a courter negge de guier talier beg, chali as jinnach e dusta, de chor deel rishirweishach on shejachagi ri. Mar so van tjachterach na jade wun shen, des ve furacht dan de chow a gadlede, der a gauw na halte negge, toyach der China maag, as doshel na sulje negge. As esch dimmer ge back a fregert, as a fregert waan, shen an oor henk me de so door een talierbeg. Tammy eurlu de gitsjach on shirweisherie. Maar so we na altig ons ach vie woezel, as we taier leegent eurlu a han. Ach we koejeljen a saai duren, courage vie woer naai in talierbeg, as we bwishel de rawe 1000 mile ersoel. Now John Seacombe continues this account. Wherefore, the better to effect these nice and tender points, he had recourse to a pious cheat, by imparting the whole secret to an old and trusty servant in whom he could confide, and consulted with him on the most likely and proper means to compass his intended projects. After several schemes and proposals on both sides, they at last hit upon the following expedient, which they judged the most probable to answer all Sir Thomas's expectations. Wherein they had considered that, as an eagle frequently formed her nest in a large thick wood in the most desolate part of his park, where seldom anything was seen, but guests qualified for such dismal habitation, therefore, if the child was taken and laid there, as if brought by the eagle, it might, on a pretended accidental discovery, complete the whole project. Sir Thomas, approving hereof, made use of the event, and gave directions to the mother to have the infant well fed and richly dressed. Now this is a song in Scottish Gaelic with the voice and piano of Rachel Walker and a group led by Aaron Jones, whose cittern leads the way into the song Gorm Chwyl War.
Hi, oh, stoi me sound toch kai, oh.
Orum Hwylvor, Big Blue Eye, the name given to a wise woman from Moy in the late 1500s. The song, with lyrics by Rachel Walker and Marcus McIntyre, and music by Rachel, who sang and played piano on the track, with a group led by Aaron Jones. John Seacombe describes how the mother was to have the baby ready early the next morning, at an hour the servant was to call for it, which, being done, and given to him, with instructions to lay it at the foot of the tree the eagle usually frequented, and to cover him secretly from all observation, that he might see and guard him from all outward injury, either from bird or beast of prey, which he performed with all imaginable privacy. And here permit me, before I proceed further on this head, to leave the child at rest for a while in his new apartment, and give the reader, by a short digression, the old story of a child said to be found in an eagle's nest at Latham, as transmitted to us from generation to generation, which runs in the following terms, namely, that Sir Thomas Latham and his lady, taking their usual walk in his park, drew near to the desert and wild situation where it was commonly reported an eagle usually built her nest. Crevis for ynnw mych sio, doet at na mast oxen heen. Ma vishin shirra de ynnw argain as de chagerition, ni shacht yin tujimek dach bulje. Chabi shen jay image maya chora erbidon. Mar sov a careil jintoch de as haya dolju kujach gusari, de hira de eeslad vain shirwe shega. Charawe riw foin doortad de hirwe shach ristunje vis maru shach lesh unvulje. Van ri genach den fi trimshach de cholulje na sharwent en firnjach ege kunte undunje. As vi bwishel na rawe riw nagene, as smunjen de beg leden arltach de gedden reirish medode. A chablios de corn red en talier beg, al de jinnech maru loch dulju en ri, as cora heen a stol ri oil. Smunny rist hamelt jaur, as verjere en reges en eignjege na de jinno. Haile shilje a talier beg. A trio who got together in Brest. This is Descofar with husband and wife Nicolas and Alice Cadoret, each on electric harp and percussion and electronic trickery by Yvon Mollard. Playing for a Breton dance, a Ride Citon.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Siodiw stasiwn yn asiwn radio fanning, as yn sio taw ysgeisiach, rys Claare ni Gael. Mish Robert gyda'n cars, wel Robert y carslach.
Ever heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
Dinch yn ryd yn talier beg, dyna fer cag i chymore, dyraw triel dy sege dy chorosh. Dinch e de, ons cael sy'r riach dege, dyraw de ffôr beche. But gynw gil mwr trwy rwsteris ys Dunbarus ys ail, nach blioes de dynje beigl fagus daw aal son yn blioes ege. Ach de gynnach y talier beg cor maw ys marw na ffawr sien, ynnach yn ri cor de an inrach yn nien ege, ons pwsa, ys liej en riach ege mo tacher, as de gynnach hyd marciach kabel gulmerish de choenelesh. Ver shenred mai son dynje gorumpins moni Italier beg. Genel ben Frins Eilen as lieje riacht regedden de chulju lei. As doorte rischen ri, she, de jaru. Vodum de lie gedden meisjerach na fauer, ach de jai genel fe mem en giet markiach kabel. Esch, fuddy maru shaach lesh unwulje, genel fe mege. Eschen voor die maru sjaach leis unwulje, genel femeg goilal rosh cheese. Upon the near approach of Sir Thomas and Lady Joan or Lady Janet Latham, writes John Seacombe, they heard the cries of a young child, which they ordered the servants attending to look for, who, on search, reported it was in the eagle's nest, which they directed to be taken down, and to their great surprise and wonder was, on examination, found to be a male infant, dressed in rich swaddling clothes. And they, having no male issue, looked upon this child as a present sent from heaven, and that it could be no less than the will of God that it should take him immediately under their care and protection, which they accordingly did, and had him carefully nursed and baptized by the name of Latham. And, according to tradition, he became possessed of that large estate, and at his death left an only daughter named Isabel, whom Sir John Stanley married, and in memory of this event took the eagle and child for his crest, as since used by his noble successors, the Earls of Derby. Well, here are Marlene and Dillis again, to sing another of Marlene's songs, The Fisher Boats of Man.
Light the wind with fire, feel its icy breath burning your flesh alive. Hoist her topsail higher, and we'll sail on the breeze like the wings of a bird. next year to Peel returning, the fisher boats of man. Heave and tow with us, take the strain with us, holding nets together. Heave and tow with us, take the strain with us, holding nets together. Lights wind with fire, feel its icy breath burning your flesh alive. Hoist her topsail higher, and we'll sail on the breeze like the wings of a bird.
Marlene and Dillis, another of Marlene's songs, The Fisher Boats of Man. Thus far goes the old tradition, which, on due examination and just information, will appear, says John Seacombe, and here he turns complete iconoclast, to be mere fable and fiction and highly improbable, when compared with the relation I shall give of this uncommon transaction from real fact. Whoever knows anything of the nature of hawks in general, of which the eagle is principal, must of consequence know with what fury and violence they strike their prey, killing all they stoop to at one stroke, or before they leave it, and knowing this must allow it morally impossible that a bird of prey of that strength and rapacious nature that an eagle is known to be should carry a live child to an eyrie unhurt, which she never attends to but when hatching or rearing her young, and then tears all to pieces she intends for herself or them as food, which they, while young, are unable to do for themselves. Morsor ren an talier beg gol toiach der an red, as ren an chied marciach cabel gair der. Tre henked gesoir na celia dort e rish an chesiach, tan I siw an sioch houds ta mishgol de haiacha na fawr. Eis ren a limmer stiach sa Gael, as jich em a giet na mush gus a lau yesh as a lau cher. Lord Tamalt gauw e baagtje in der fawr, van in lai fo wilje as van in gadla, as was strinnoeg drau ulje de banglen en goller krae. Ren de talier beg, len de vrie is geachtel, Lina en der foggedjegel es klagen, as ren e drappel soese wilje, as ren e kaasne gus bangan wa kroge maag, de dod e cora hien na hai kaart skin na vier gadli. As wij shen, ren e ligge de klaag, tusje met a chliw eg verge in der fawr. Rish tamant jouwer gerenne voor gol taaste herbije sjo. Ach, verjere, renne duste, as renne brodde gomreges doorte. Gren vet au boelemi. Well, having gone out with the fisher boats of Man, the next port of call is Boscastle on the north coast of Cornwall, and a group of singers there call themselves the Boscastle Boys, which they spell B-U-O-Y-S.
If you visit the Duchy on a clear summer's morn, you'll hear the people singing there from sunrise until dawn. You will hear the ocean thunder round the craggy Cornish shore. One thing that's for certain, you will come back for more.
For Cornwall's not a county that's sited in the west, but Cornwall is a duchy, the place I love the best. And down there in that homeland is where I want to be. For Cornwall is a country with 300 miles of sea.
You might see a bright blue carpet spread underneath the trees. Smell the sweet wildflowers blowing softly on the breeze. You might see a chuff there flying, or the cliffs up in the sky. Then you come to realize and know the reason why.
For Cornwall's not a county that's sited in the west, but Cornwall is a duchy, the place I love the best. And down there in that homeland is where I want to be. For Cornwall is a country with 300 miles of sea.
Traditions you will find there as you go on your way. Padstow has its obvious, Penzance its mazy day. You may dance a dance at Houston and sing the furry song. All of these more reasons why you should come along.
For Cornwall's not a county that's sited in the west, but Cornwall is a duchy, the place I love the best. And down there in that homeland is where I want to be. For Cornwall is a country with 300 miles of sea.
Now west of the Tamer is where I want to be. Yes, west of the Tamer we call it God's country. From Morwenstow to Newland and up the southern shore. All of these more reasons why you'll come back for more.
For Cornwall's not a county that's sited in the west, but Cornwall is a duchy, the place I love the best. And down there in that homeland is where I want to be. For Cornwall is a country with 300 miles of sea.
Yes, Cornwall is a country with 300 miles of sea.
Boscastle Boys and their song 300 Miles of Sea. Tau dremel dreger a fair elia, genel mi benten rut. As renne deurluwed heen riech de gadla. As renne talier liege tujum klaag a faur elia. Grebe shen na chor biedelia, crit tau kiau orm. Genel mi kiau wegort, dredger a der, zee talach. Well, John Seacombe has, as I mentioned at the start, much more to say about the Latham family tradition of the eagle and child, which was taken up as a crest by Sir John Stanley and his successors. So there's rather more to come of this tale over the coming, well, probably weeks actually, by the time we've gone through it all. Ach, bí sin son treelia nód fel yn treain, chit gajera. And this tune that's playing now is called Fidanealer, the eagle's whistle. But known in the island as well, of course. Well, Chris Pearson brings you 2 hours of the best of chill-out music for your Sunday evening from 7 to 9, and then at 9 it's sundown. A shendegrede fel Claare na Gael chi chitgakion, and Claare na Gael closes this time with music from Cwys, an Irish quartet made of Maeve Niviogli, Nicole Nirulania, Niamh Varian Barry and Kyle Macaulay, now all based in Cork Arena on the Dingle Peninsula in West Kerry. Maeve and Nicole are from the area, Niamh is originally from Cork and Kyle from Donegal. Well, my Dolores, na fodina vel, ach son shenazulio shene. And so, until the next time then, this is Robert Gutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Old Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night. Eve I'm a chriorts, as Duts my Yerian share.